Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 25 years of my life. On this broadcast, I finally hit the yard. They put me in F block first. So when I get there, the Mexicans, the whites, the blacks, and the islanders all approach me, give me the third degree. Who are you? Where are you from? Who you run with? And blah, blah, blah. It just so happened that Getty Bloomfield was already in that unit and recognized me. He was playing cards. So he came up, oh, what's up, Mesa? Woo, woo. And after that, all the other people went their way because I've declared myself. I'm an islander, Legion Islander. So while me and Getty is chopping it up, trying to find me a cell to stay, and the CEO comes and says, hey, you're in the wrong unit. You gotta go to M block. I'm like, what? Nah, you gotta go to M block. Well, I come out to find out, M block is where all the 2-hour watch people are, meaning they issue a card. So every 2 hours, you have to report to a CO and notify them where you're at. If you don't report to a CO every 2 hours, at that point in time, if you go more than 2 hours without letting one of the COs, one of the guards know where you're at, they're just gonna come and lock you up, no questions asked. So M Block was a special unit specifically for influential people, extra violent people, and people with attempted escape history. So I don't know which category I fall in, because when I assaulted an officer back in the county jail, they charged me for assault on a federal officer, attempted escape, aiding and abetting attempted escape because I let CNET out of the cell. So anyway, I go to M block, and as soon as I walk into M block, it's the same thing. It's during the day, so everybody's at work. You know, they being fresh in the system, in the pen. I don't know how it works. The CEO puts me in there with a white guy. So I know it's something wrong. I'm not supposed to be in a cell with a white guy. But I don't really know the politics because, like I said, this is my first day on the yard. So I'm in a cell with the white guy. I put my stuff on the top bunk or whatever. But then a few hours later, the counselor comes in and says, what the fuck? Oh, no, and moves me out and tries to put me in the cell with a Samoan dude. But no one thinks I look Asian. You know, I had long hair. My hair is wavy. It's not straight. So he either thought I was black or Mexican and he refused me. But I'm not voicing nothing. I'm just soaking everything in and just observing, you know. So they put me in a cell by myself because they don't know who I am, what race I am, and I'm the type of person that don't like to volunteer information. You know, I don't care where they put me. You know, I'm gonna make it work, however. So finally, at dinner time, everybody finds out, hey, I'm Asian, you know, or whatnot. And I get put in a cell with a Guamanian dude that's named Yano. Me and him end up being cellies for like a couple weeks. Not even, just like a week. Because I was in the cell for a week. Then they came and locked me back up, put me back in the chute. Because, like I said, that unit is a 2-hour watch. The lady that was supposed to make the pink card which is just a pink card with my name and number on it, laminated. She was on vacation, and I guess the skills that it takes to make the pink card, nobody else was qualified to do it. So they locked me back up in the shoe for another 2 weeks, waiting for the lady to come back on vacation. And then again, they released me. So my first 40 days there, I spent, or my first 45 days, 47 days there, I spent 40 days of it in the shoe and 7 days on the compound. So when they let me back out the second time, that's when I became the homie. That's when Billy from Provo told me to come be his celly. So me and him being celly. You know, we bonded over the fact that we were both from Utah. You know, but you know, like again, coming to the system, I had no idea that what was going out there in the streets in California, and that there was a war going on between the Mexicans and the Asians and the Islanders. All the Sureños throughout California had a green light on the Asian Islanders. So I had a few them Sureños approach me, and they explained to me what was going on out there and all this other stuff. And again, I told them, look, I'm from Utah. Yeah, I'm Cambodian. If you got beef with me on that, then it's whatever. Well, but I ain't got nothing to do with what you guys got doing going in California. But if that's an issue with you, it's whatever. I expected these type of things because I'm in prison. I've heard the story, so I know I'm not being sent to Disneyland or the temple. I know what it is. And I brace myself for whatever. But I guess they respected the way I came at them. And I was respectful, but I was adamant about, I'm with it. I'm with whatever it is you guys are trying to do. You know? And they respected that. And I really didn't have no issues. So I'm just learning the ropes. You know, I get, you know, a week later I go in, I get teamed by the unit team, counselor, manager. They're trying to give me the ins and out of how the prison is, mind your P's and Q. This place is really rough and tumbling, and you know, they're really just trying to scare you or whatever. But at the same time, they're really not, because this is what's going on in there. Then they try to tell me they're gonna put me on a quarterly payment for my fines and stuff, which I refuse to pay because I'm not giving the system nothing. They gave me like a $7,000 fine or something, and I think over the course of 25 years, I paid $250 of it. You know, because yeah, why am I giving them money for it? I'm never going. I didn't have any expectations of ever coming home. You know, in my mind, being just barely 20 years old, receiving a 26-year sentence, it was like a life sentence to me, because it was impossible for me at the time to ever, you know, to look 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, let alone a quarter century. How do you even predict what's going to happen to you a quarter century down the road? I couldn't imagine that I'm going to be going home at 45. I had no idea how long I was going to live. You know, especially in the environment that I'm in. You know, I think my first couple of weeks there, you hear the deuces go off all the time. Deuces mean it's an emergency. You know, the cops carry a little panic button on them, and they hit the deuces when an incident happened to notify all the other COs to report to this particular area. And it goes off every day. Every single day. And back then, they never locked us down. They just clean up the blood, secure the corridor to get whoever needs to get medical attention to medical, and keep it pushing. You know, so One day I come out in the yard, and after lunch, everybody congregates on the yard. We have our little area, the Asian Islander, by the weight pile. Back then in Lompoc, they still had universal weights. They took all the free weights away because of the Zimmerman bill. She was this lady who was saying she took all the pornographic magazines and all the weights off the yard because she was saying all that stuff was creating predators. And the CEOs were intimidated that the people in the USP was lifting weights and getting yoked up and then beating them up or whatever. But all that's just a lie. You know, CEOs that get fucked off in there, they had it coming. Because most of us, the majority of us, 99.9% of us, is just trying to figure out how to cope with the sentence we got with their environment. We don't have time to harass and deal with the COs. We have enough issues trying to navigate the terrain that we're in already, because in federal prisons it's racist. Blacks don't like Mexicans, Mexicans don't like blacks, whites don't like anybody. You know, like you got white dudes that come out of Utah that function with the Islanders, or even from Mexican gangs and Asian gangs and poly gangs or whatever. When they get there, you know, they make the mistake because, you know, it's their first time fishing in. They end up fucking running white. And then when they run white, they find out, hey, there's all these rules. You can't be hanging out with no other race. You can't be drinking and smoking with no other race. It's just, for the most part, them skinheads and Nazis or whatever, they're just miserable, man. You know? But a lot of them are hypocrites because they'll sneak around and come ask me to go deal with somebody because they can't deal with it directly with a black dude because they want something that a black dude has or whatnot. They come through me because, you know, me being Asian, I don't fall into the hate category. No one has a beef with me. So I became like a bridge, and really that's what that's what helped me in the system being Asian, is that nobody really hated me, and I was able to socialize and associate with people from different aspects. So I had a lot of friends that were from different races, Bloods and Crips, skinheads, Mexicans. I was able to create rapport and build relationships with all these different races and different gangs and different groups. One, because in the beginning, they don't have anything against me. And two, they like the way I carried myself. You know, I had an incident when I first came in. He got his blood named Creek. He was in USP Florence with some of the homies, Paul Tanifa, JJ Fanua, Josh Fanua, all the old heads that caught their case back in '95. So when he found out I was in Utah, we chopped it up, and he found out, yeah, I know these dudes. These were my homies. I was in the county jail with them back in '95. So in M Block, it's a horseshoe. The cells are back to back, but the tier comes like a horseshoe. In California, they have a rule that the Sereños and the Crips and Blood have to be from the farthest distance from each other. If you're not a Crip, if you're not a Blood, you might never see the end of that tier over there on that side. If you're not a Sereño, you might never see the other side. If you're walking over there, somebody's gonna stop you. Hey, homie, what you doing over here? What's your business? If you ain't got no business over there, you need to get gone, because they don't allow nobody. Everybody's nerves are on high tension at all time, 24 hours, because no one knows what the other guy is plotting. These are enemies that have been killing each other on the streets for decades. And now they're forced into an environment to coexist. So they have laws and rules and guidelines that everybody abides by to keep the peace. And if you deviate from those rules and guidelines, it's gonna be enforced. And back then, you're not getting beat up. If you broke the rules or whatever and it had to be enforced, you were getting stabbed up. And you're getting stabbed up by your own people. Because if your own people don't stab you up, it's gonna cause a racial war. So to keep the peace, your best friend might be the one to have to kill you. You know? So I'm over there in the Crip section chopping it up with Creek, because the Crips and the Bloods got an alliance. Really, Crips, Blood, and the Bay Area, all from California, got an alliance. And they're playing chess. So I asked Creek, hey, I said, man, you mind if I get next? He's like, yeah, you can get next. So when the game was finished, I go to sit down at the table to play, but Bolo, and if you imagine anybody named Bolo, that's what he is. He's a big old half black, half islander dude, Crip dude, but he had a lot of respect on the compound. He sits on top of the table. He's like, hey man, ain't no more chess game over here, man. We watching TV. He turns his back on me and watches TV. I'm not sure how to react. You know, like a part of me was telling me, like, this dude is disrespecting you, take off on him. But my reasonable part was just, you're not gonna survive if you do that. You're in the corner, the Crip section, and everybody outweighs you by 100 pounds, you know, and it's just like, just sit back and survey the situation. So I didn't say anything. I walked away. But I kept my eye on him because I don't know what the issue is. I just know that something is there. I don't know what it is. So I watch him. So later on, when I see him go up to his cell, he lives upstairs. I live downstairs towards the front of the unit. So he lives upstairs. It's 3 levels, open tier. Like somebody can throw you off the 3rd floor, and there's people been thrown off the 3rd tier. And there's people that have been jumped off the 3rd tier, you know, committing suicide. There's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in there. But, you know, so I watch him go to his room. He lives about 4 cells down from the back. The hallway is about 21 cells deep. So it's a long hallway, 3 tiers up. If anybody ever seen the movie American Me, that's how the prison was set up. Old Lompoc, they call it the New Rock. When they close up Alcatraz, they turn Lompoc into a USP. So when I see him go into his room, he lives in the room by himself. I go up there. I go to his cell, I knock on his door. I say, hey, excuse me, Bolo, can I holler at you? He's like, yeah, what's up, man? I say, look, I don't know if I did anything to disrespect you or offend you, but earlier today, when I was trying to play chess, you sat on the table and stopped the game. So I'm wondering, like, if there's an issue or something that I need to be aware of. He's like, nah, I ain't got no issue with you, homie. It's just your car, the Asian Islander car, isn't known for checking paperwork. And we check paperwork around here. I didn't know this. You know, like I said, this is only my first couple of weeks in the system. So I have no idea how different cars ran and what the politics is. But, you know, when you come through the USP, it's mandatory you have your paperwork, and I expected that. But he was right. The Asian Islanders that was there in Lompoc before me never even asked me about my case. You know, come to find out later on, that there were some dudes that were Asian Islander that their paperwork didn't check out. You know, and later on, after I've been there for a while, I raised the issue, and when we moved to, you know, we was only there for a couple of years, but when we moved to Victorville, I was the first one to open up Victorville, and I started pushing the issue about paperwork, and some of the homies that was coming with us from Lompoc to Victorville that didn't check out, they started getting their head busted, you know. I started enforcing it. But before, when I'm in Lompoc, I'm the new kid on the block. So I'm just figuring things out. So he was like, nah, you guys don't check paperwork, homie. So, we don't allow nobody on our side if they ain't been cleared. So I was like, oh, that's it? He said, yeah. I said, hold up. So I ran back down to my cell, grabbed my box of paperwork, went back up there, gave it to him, and left. I don't know if he read it. I don't know if whatever. A couple of days later, he came back and gave me back the paperwork. And I've been an honorary Crip Blood California homie since. Down there shooting dice, drinking with the homies all day long, every day, But I was like that with but once, there's no secrets in prison. So whatever happened, whatever he said was there, it opened all the doors for me. Every morning from Monday to Friday, I was working out with Mike. He had the yard for the BGF. The BGF is the Black Guerrilla family out of Oakland, which is a branch off the Black Panther Party. I work out with him from Monday to Friday every morning. On the weekend, I was playing handball with Topo. His last name's Garcia. He's in ADX right now for the riot where they beat up 50 COs in my unit. And that story will come along. But somehow him and I somehow jail, and we end up playing handball together every weekend, either it's Friday or Saturday morning. And I learned to not beat him every single game because, when I was winning, he would, get upset and he would start freaking taking out on his homeboy because he would always have 5-6 guys around him as, security. On Sunday, I used to go work out with Flea. He was a general for a vice lord. And, having these type of ranks and status in the environment that we're in meant something. Like you just couldn't declare yourself, hey, I'm a bad motherfucker. Hey, I'm a general. Hey, I'm a leader. These positions were granted to you by your peers because there was something about you that was worthy of their respect. So I don't know how people perceive me outside of these individuals, but these men, these ones that raised me, they were OGs already. So yeah, that was my experience when I first entered. I didn't have it bad because the way I carried myself and because they knew that I was willing to deal with situations when they arise. And situation later on did arise. And they were able to see that whoever they thought this kid was that. And I was able to earn their respect. And having respect of these leaders, of these influential people, really allowed me to do what I wanted to do. Like, they told me on different occasions, like, man, if any incident ever happened with you, this whole yard's gonna blow up because I fuck with too many people. Too many people respected me and liked me. But yeah, that was my initiation in the USP. I presented my paperwork, and after that, I was given a green light to do whatever I wanted. So stay tuned to some more episodes. It's going to start getting interesting and entertaining. Welcome to my life in the USP.